okay, so I do want to rant. Don't get me wrong, but actually, I don't know. Do I have news? Our guy Xavier. Remember?
Yeah.
So I said, hey man, we finally talked to YouTube. We're good to like play your music on the intro and outro.
Yeah.
And he's like, cool. He goes, let me do you something better. I don't know what that means. But I think we're getting accustomed. I think we're getting a custom something. Fluent and Chill something. Yeah, so
word.
Yeah.
If he's writing the rhyme for us, that'd be so dope.
Yeah, Xavier top floor. It's gonna be like, I don't know, Fluent and Chill in the she went to Arizona University. Like it'll be something.
For real.
That'd be perfect. That was nice bars.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
I got a beef.
Uh-oh.
I got a beef. And here's my beef. I'll be quick and then I'll let you do your thing. Do your thing. Salute to the chat. On Tuesday, I don't know, some FYP, Elemental P, I don't know, some dude came on the panel with us. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about, I don't even remember the player. And he said, oh, well, I put this player in that era and I simmed it on 2K. So I know that it's real.
Oh, Allen Iverson and replacing Allen Iverson, not replace. He's supposed to replace Allen Iverson with Giannis.
On this year's Bucks. Yeah, I wanted to, as Chill would say, drive my car into a telephone pole because anytime, and it's always these young people, well, I simmed it on 2K. I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
So I said to my son today, I said, can you do me a favor? I just want to see what happens. Don't change anything. Just sim this season. You know who won the NBA championship?
Milwaukee.
The Detroit Pistons.
Garbage. Trash.
Don't ever tell me, but I simmed it on 2K, because then I will never listen to anything you say again.
That's not an argument. People
are making that, but I simmed it on 2K. And I see it all the time. My son watches them on YouTube. I took Steph Curry and I put him in the 60s. That's cool. It's interesting. Yeah. It ain't factual. Like, it's like...
two different realms, like keep them separate.
Well, there's a reason why movies are entertaining, because they're not real.
Yeah,
there's a reason why it's so dope to watch, because it's not actual. Like this isn't really going to happen. So I can't actually put Michael Jordan from 1987 in today's game. Not simulated on a video game, and it's going to come out.
You can do it. You can do it. Don't even troll. No. All the chat. Who's trolling? I don't care.
But what I can't do is I can't put Jordan from 1987-88, the MVP Jordan, in the 2023, and then use that as a reference. I put Jordan from 87-88 in the 2023, and he only averaged 22 a game this year. I did it on you. I did it on 2K. I sound crazy.
See this chat.
I sound wild right now.
No.
Yeah, what was the context, Fluent?
I don't care. This is not PC chat. This is Fluent and Chill chat. So you guys are smarter than any other chat. So I'm not gonna let you get away with it was trolling. It was this, was that, because I see it's not just one person. Multiple people are doing it and saying it like it's real. I did it on 2K. No. Stop saying he's trolling. Smarter than that. No.
Oh man,
no. I feel like if I was
he's
I'd have a
here.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, good rant, and
the Pistons. The Pistons. You can never trust the simulation ever again. I might just stop using I might stop using Chat GPT just because there's some affiliation with the simulation. I'm done.
Yeah.
I love Chat GPT. Yeah, I love that damn AI. Have you used a lot of Chat GPT?
Me?
I don't even know what it is.
I haven't used it. I think you have to pay for it, don't you?
Nah, I was an early investor, so I was
thinking about that. I think even now it would still be a really good thing to get into, because I think it's going to take off.
Is that what it's called?
Chat GPT. Basically, dude, you can tell it to do whatever you want. Like you can put in, how do I respond to this? And you can put in what someone sent you and it'll tell you. Or I use it a lot for like in my business where I say like, I want to do a LinkedIn post about the economic fall of the United States after World War I. And it'll be like, cool. And
you just give it a prompt and then it will.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
I love it. But for school, you can't use it because they can like put it in and find out if it's been.
I'm sorry if I'm looking crazy right now, but I can't believe that the Boston Celtics got Milwaukee 40 in the hole right now, Tone.
Oh, I turned it off at 20.
They got them 40 in the hole right now.
Yeah, halftime it just got worse.
Like a train, you know how people say it's like a train wreck? You can't look away? No, I can look away from a train wreck.
I can too, but this situation right here is like, I can't believe that these dudes came in here and stomped you guys like this. Well,
why though? Like, what's the issue? I mean, they're not playing defense. They're coming off a back-to-back, but
I'll tell you what the issue is, H. The issue is that Boston made Milwaukee play like they played. Boston is one of the better not only are they one of the better long ball shooting teams in the game, they're one of the biggest volume long ball shooting teams in the game. Milwaukee, that's not your game. You guys shoot the long ball, but you're not a volume long ball shooting team. You got Giannis out here shooting long balls in transition. Like, wait a minute, yo, that's not your game. They got these they basically packed the paint. Not only did they pack the paint, they're daring Giannis, they're daring Middleton, they're daring Portis to shoot the basketball. I dare you dudes to shoot the basketball. What up, brother?
Look at the score.
I
108 to 64. Boston beating Milwaukee.
It's crazy.
How do you feel about your Bucks? Come here. How do you feel about your Bucks losing by 40? Terrible.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Get 'em out of here.
NBA championship. Who's winning the NBA championship this year? Bucks. Say it loud.
Bucks.
Who's winning the NBA championship this year?
Warriors.
Yeah.
Right.
I like him.
Oh, Gary Payton II is back. That's gonna make a difference.
Yeah, he knows. Is he a Warriors fan?
Next season we sign him to a max deal. What are we talking about?
You didn't tell me.
Defensively?
Yeah.
Go ahead, say it.
Defensively, it's gonna make a difference.
Defensively, it's gonna make a difference. All right.
He knows what's up.
Good night.
The Pistons stink.
The Pistons stink. I know. Go. Have a good night. Love you.
They're so cute. Aww.
The Pistons stink. I love it.
Yeah,
That's
they know.
FYI. They've given themselves nicknames. She is. We did our parents versus kids game last night. It was our last practice for his team, the U10s, and she's like, she's throwing behind the back pass. She's like, I'm Mini Magic, and he gave himself the name Mini Mamba. So I'm very proud of both of them. My two favorite players of all time, coincidentally, they're Mini Magic and Mini Mamba. So
somebody said he's more knowledgeable than Dub.
it's not ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to let one game. I mean, this is bad. This is real bad because, I mean, actually, there's kind of been a trend this season where the big teams match up, and it's usually like Milwaukee and Denver matched up, and it was kind of a blowout, right? So it's not unacceptable to see these games turn into something like this, but it's still disappointing. I mean, it's not like they're going to drop anymore. They're going to stay number one seed, but still.
H, stop being nice. Say what it really is. They losing by 40, H. They're not 15 in the hole. They're not 18 in the hole. They go in. This isn't Boston. They go into Milwaukee. I don't know if you guys know. I know. I'm 100% confident you guys are aware of this. The playoffs start in 2 weeks. Yeah. All right. It's not like this is January and we're in the dog days of the NBA season. The playoffs start in 2 weeks. They come into their building and beat them by 40. To beat a team by 20, to beat a team by 15, you're making a statement. To beat a team by 40, nobody's eating tonight. Nobody. I'm in the locker room flipping over tables.
Yeah.
We might have to go back to practice tonight instead of practicing tomorrow.
They scored 41 points in the second quarter.
It was like 70 to 36 or something.
This is an effort thing more than anything. Don't get me wrong, Tone.
But look, it happens. It happens. And it unfortunately happened at the same night where Boston is shooting over like 55% from three, and Milwaukee is just shooting horribly. 34% from the field, 20-something% from three. They're just having a horrible. It happens. It shouldn't happen this late in the season if you have championship aspirations and everybody's healthy and playing. But it happens. You lose by 50, you lose by 5. It's a loss and you move on.
No, Tone, that's not the same thing.
That's how you got to think about it.
No, Tone,
you have to think about it.
To lose by 40 in your building, we have to wake some people up around here because this is unacceptable. Absolutely not. Because we don't want this moving forward. This kind of effort. I mean, 3 for 22 on the long ball at the half. At the half, 3 for 22 with the long ball. Come on, man.
But you could, okay, but you know what? You can come back from that. In the first, look, they didn't, but I'll give you an example. The Raptors the other night against The one I get the game I told you they were going to win against, I believe, the Bulls, and y'all laughed at me. And I said they're going to. Remember, I told you they're going to beat the Bulls. Okay,
Yeah.
You did say that.
Yeah, facts. One of 16 from 3 in the first half, and they go on to win by like 15. So you can bounce back from bad shooting if you do other things.
Depending on the team you're facing,
63 to 20 in the paint, 25 to 10 on fast breaks. So you make up with it in other ways. I'm sure Milwaukee looked at themselves at half and said, okay, we're down 70 to 10. No problem. The law of averages says we're going to hit 60% of our shots in the second half. And they just didn't. I get it, but it's a game. It's one game.
Yeah, it's not good, especially for their confidence and especially at home. Like, that is so terrible.
That's what's worse, H. That's worse.
At home?
That's the worst part about this.
That's painful. So
yeah,
sorry.
The fact that it's at home. Yeah, the fact that it's at home isn't good.
No, it's not.
But yeah, hey, again, they have to think of it. I'm not going to overreact.
Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm going to try not to. I'm sorry. I'm going to try not to overreact.
And
tomorrow I'll overreact.
Yeah, we'll let it sink in. It's especially with Drew coming off like 56 yesterday. Come on now. But I see Bobby's in the chat. What's up, Bobby? Shout out to the Sacramento Kings. They have clinched a playoff spot for the first time in 16 years, the longest drought of any
years
of any.
Light the beam, Bobby.
Light the beam. Okay, so real quick, what are we doing here? Are the Kings going to be in the first round and bounce out of the first round in or are we going to see maybe them actually be able to take this thing a little bit further with the state that the West is in, the wild, wild West?
The Kings should be really, really feared. And here's why. They don't know any better.
They really don't.
That's don't dangerous. Know. They're literally, when you have nothing to lose, there was no expectation. There's no, everyone, there's probably half the people saying, they're going to get bounced in the first round, right? Ask anyone in the chat right now. What are they going to say? First round exit. No pressure. So go out and just play.
Right.
And that is the best situation to be in. Now, the matchup's going to matter, who they play.
Right.
But I love playing when you got nothing to lose. Man, that's fun. That's fun.
Well, here's the thing, though, Tone. I mean, they do have to go up against the defending NBA champs in round one. And you guys know how I feel about the Warriors. I think the road to the NBA championship goes through Golden State. Now, Sacramento, they have the best offense in the game. One of my favorite players in De'Aaron Fox, who basically reminds me of he when I watch him, he looks like a more athletic version of Nick Van Exel. That's who he looks like to me. Now, that team, as fast as they play, with the continuity that they have, the offense that they have, I think they could get a Warriors trouble, like a lot of trouble. And when I say a lot of trouble, H, I mean this could be a 6-7 game dogfight in round one. So I'm not saying that they get mopped in round one. I think that the Warriors could beat them. But I wouldn't be surprised if Sacramento gave them everything that they could handle. And they maybe even pulled the series out. That wouldn't surprise me.
I have to pause you guys for a second because I just noticed someone who's in the chat, Sebastian Lopez. And you two should know, I didn't get an invite. But Sebastian DM'd me on IG and said that he is a student, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Sebastian, a student at Florida Atlantic. And they get free tickets. So if you want to go to the next, where are they playing? I think they're playing in
Houston in the Final Four.
In Houston, if you guys want to fly down, he can get. He said the three of you can go together. I don't know why I didn't get an invitation, but apparently my visa's been revoked or something. I don't know. But the three of you, let me know off to the side.
All paperwork is not correct. He can't go down here.
I wanted to call out Sebastian and let him know. And speaking of calling out people. I'm gonna say this maybe. Oh, actually, maybe you should call this out first while I do something else.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, of course we've got our GOAT members, King J and Comatose, who have been exceptional on the panel and all the shows actually. So shout out to them. And if you do want to become a GOAT member and all the perks that come with that, make sure to check the link in our bio. And also shout out to y'all for coming last week. If you weren't here last week. We had a special guest on, so definitely go check that out as well. But it was a really, really fun stream. Definitely a huge moment for me to be able to do that. I know Fluent was fangirling a little bit here and there. So, so yeah. And thank you, Jay, for making that happen for us and for all of Players' Choice as well.
Absolutely. No doubt.
Yeah.
I think it was a big deal. No
doubt. I want you to know there's more surprises to come. but I'm not gonna do it like Chill. They're just gonna pop up on screen, just so you know.
No,
just so you know.
I don't like surprises.
I know that's why I'm gonna do it. So look forward to that. And then I'm gonna put this in the banner in a minute, but I want to call out King Dudley, who gave us a super chat last week, and with all the chaos going on, I missed it, and it was significant.
Oh yeah.
And I missed it, so I want to shout out King Dudley with the super chat. What he had said was, "Get them likes up." Shout out to Chill and First Cousin Shaq. I will say that maybe 3 or 4 times this episode, but there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. Okay, so those are 2 at least Western Conference teams that I wanted to talk about. But Jay, the Mavs, they have fallen from the 4th seed to the 11th seed, and they are looking real bad right now. Is there any way for them to come back this season, or should they just call it a loss?
I don't know if they should call it a loss, but everybody got wrapped up in Kyrie Irving coming to the Dallas Mavericks like he's the answer, and they completely left out what they gave up to get Kyrie Irving, and the fact that they gave up so much of their defense. Remember, before the Kyrie Irving trade, Dallas was giving up 111 a game. That was good enough for the top half of the league. Since the Kyrie Irving trade, since losing Spencer Dinwiddie, since losing Finney Smith, 2 of their best perimeter defenders, since losing those guys, not just their best perimeter defenders, also scoring from Spencer Dinwiddie. Since that, they're now giving up almost 117 a game. That's good enough. That's good enough for almost next to last. They're garbage. Straight garbage defensively. Now, the reason why people were so surprised why this didn't work, because they're just looking at this from an offensive standpoint. You have to eventually stop people, or at least slow people down and make it competitive. And Jason Kidd, who came out and said, quote, "We're going to have to outscore people." Well, you can outscore people when you have what they don't have, but you can't do it when you run up on a team like Phoenix, or you run up on a team like Sacramento, or you run up on the better teams in the Western Conference when they have what you have. And on top of them having what you have, they can actually slow you down. That's where the difference is.
Why are you lying to all these people?
About what, Tom?
Why are you lying to all these people? The 244 people, about 10,000 people are going to watch this, and you're telling them they didn't know? I told them. Y'all laughed when I said the Alice Mavericks.
He didn't say they didn't know.
He said why they thought they were going to be good. And I'm saying they thought they were going to be good because they didn't listen.
Who thought they were going to be Mark?
You just
Mark
said
Cuban?
they thought they were going to be good. Did you not?
I made a video the day that came out, and I think we all agreed that we didn't think this was going to work. Did we all agree?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
You definitely did, though. You were vocal about it.
I said the Alice Mavericks. And you, sorry, when I say you, I'm not pointing at you, Jay. I'm pointing at the chat. This is the chat over here on my screen. Is that
okay?
Okay.
No, I saw your face.
I'm like, what?
I was like, you didn't say that.
The chat. I said the Alice Mavericks, and y'all laughed. You said, "You're a hater, bro. Kyrie Irving's the most talented. Him and Luka, bro. Yeah, what happened? I told you, you have to play some defense. You have to have some defense. You put 2 guys on a team that, remember I said they both play with the ball. And the chat said, well, someone's going to be, they can play without the ball. They can play off ball. No, they can't. No, they can't. You know who's smarter than all of you? Fluent Jr. You know what he said? He said they should let Luka play and have Kyrie come off the bench. so he can run the second unit. I'm like, that's not a bad idea.
I don't know if that's terrible. To be honest with you, Todd, I can't believe I'm listening to that and thinking to myself, I don't know if that's terrible.
Lead your own unit and let Luka do his thing.
He said it to me, and I was like, "That's good." Hold on. I was gonna say it's crazy, but hold on. Let me think about
Wait a minute. That's not terrible to say that.
That's not ridiculous, right? That's
not ridiculous to say that.
There you go, Dallas.
I thought that when Kyrie Irving got on that crew, I thought that it gave Luka a secondary scorer, a guy who he can now get the ball to where he didn't have to be responsible for everybody's offense. And that was going to help their offense. I thought that it could work in that aspect. The problem that I had was, who's going to guard now? Because we ain't stopping nobody. We're not stopping anybody. And this was a win-win for Dallas. Well, why is it a win-win for Dallas? Because if they ended up in the Western Conference Championship, or if they went further, I think Irv is going to walk at the end of the season. I don't think they're going to get anything for him. I think he's going to walk at the end of the season. Even though everything that they gave up for him, even though everything that they gave up for him, they have to get something back. But on the flip side to that, if it didn't work, Dallas's attitude is, well, at least we're trying. It's not like we're just sitting around, sitting on our hands. We're doing something. So I thought this was a win-win for Dallas. To be honest with you, I didn't think that they could win it. No, I'm 100% confident. I never said that.
Did they not learn their lesson? Because isn't that what the Nets tried to do? Was put a bunch of offensive guys together and say we're just going to outscore everybody and not play any defense? How did that work?
It was actually working, Tone, until those guys fell apart. James Harden couldn't hold up. KD couldn't hold up.
You think it would have held up for a championship run?
I don't think so. I think they do have defenders more so than I'd say Dallas does right now, but I don't think it was ever.
Yeah.
Enough.
Okay. Sure. Do you guys know Bill Simmons?
Yeah. Podcast, right?
Yeah. He said this might be what next year's Mavericks look like.
Draymond.
Oh,
Luka, LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. No.
Oh man.
You think LeBron and Draymond because Draymond clearly has changed his tune and he's got a crush on LeBron and that he wants to play with him some way somehow. You think they all just go to Dallas?
No, Draymond's retiring a Warrior. He is.
Okay. Not only that, James just signed an extension this season, if I'm not mistaken.
Extensions were made to be broken.
Well, they were made to be broken in certain circumstances. James ain't leaving Los Angeles. What is he leaving Los Angeles for?
I don't know. No.
To go to Dallas?
I don't know if you know. You know how many people have left LA to move to Texas?
Oh, that's because of the cost of living, Tone. We don't have that problem. It's not like right, but he doesn't have that problem. This isn't a cost of living issue. In fact, I got a pretty good job and I work for a really good company. So there's no reason for me to leave here. None whatsoever. And I'm the man here too, by the way. So there's no reason for him to leave there. To go to Dallas? Yeah, I'm good. I'm straight.
Right. You know what I do like about the Mavs situation? I'm glad, and I said this in the beginning, I'm glad that they did go get him Luka help. You know, they didn't wait 5 or 10 years before they wasted a bunch of time. They tried to get him a second option. I just don't think Kyrie was that person.
That's not help. That's not help.
I think it was an attempt at help.
No.
Since when is 27 a game not help?
Because it's not.
It was the wrong help. That's what I'm saying. They should have traded
for the wrong help, which means it's not help. It made it worse. What they gave up, you just finished saying it. What they gave up to get him wasn't worth it. They gave up way too much defense for 27 a game. What did they give up? They gave up 40 a game and defense for 27 a game and who knows and arguments. It's like saying
but they got him a star.
It's like saying the Cavs did James a favor by getting Antoine Jameson, who was averaging 20-something a game, getting Ben Wallace, getting Shaq. No, that's fake. That's token. That's not real help. But that's not real help.
If they were able to hold on to, let's say, some of that defense, if they were able to hold on to it, that's the problem. The fact that what they gave up, because I don't think that Kyrie Irving and Luka together are the main problem. We got to, again, like I just mentioned, Tone, they're giving up 117 a game. Since this trade, they can't stop anybody. I don't think Dwight Powell is a starting center on a playoff team. I'm not even sure he's a starting center in the NBA. I think.
Why don't you like Canadians? Why don't you like Canadians?
I love Jamal Murray. I love Jamal Murray. Right. I love Steve Nash. So we're not going to do that. Yeah. Shea is absolutely Canadian.
Yeah.
Shea is Canadian. So that's not the problem. The problem is with the other things. Jason Kidd.
Hamilton, Ontario represent.
His Jason Kidd's rotations, not only Jason Kidd's rotations, his ability to adjust defensively. I'm trying to make, especially this season in particular, because he now doesn't have his 2 best perimeter defenders. So now we don't know what we're doing defensively. I'm not sure Dwight Powell is a starting center on a playoff team. I'm not even sure he's a starting center.
Why did they play him just like 2 games this season?
That was the next thing. That was the next thing I was trying to figure out, because JaVale, he might be, to be honest with you, H, he might be their best rim protector. And he's got, I think, over this last 10 games, he's got like 8 DMPs. I'm thinking, why is JaVale not in the lineup? What's going on? What's the problem here? So Dallas is a mess.
Name me a team that Kyrie has gone to and made them better. Not the team that drafted him. Name me a team that he's gone to and made them better.
Boston seemed like they were on their way, but then it just went the other way.
Because they got Kyrie. That should be a verb. They got Kyrie. The Nets got Kyrie. Now Dallas got Kyrie, and whoever, unfortunately for whoever he goes to next year, will get Kyrie.
And be honest with you, Tone, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm sorry to cut you off, H, but I'm glad you brought that up, Tone, because if I'm the Lakers, I am falling more and more in love with D'Angelo Russell every day, and I do not want anything to do with Kyrie Irving. I like what we got going on here. I'm straight on Kyrie Irving. I think D'Angelo Russell fits better with this unit than Kyrie Irving. I've said this to you in the past, Tone. Adrian Dantley was a better player than Mark Aguirre. Mark Aguirre was a better fit for the Detroit Pistons than Adrian Dantley was. And I think that D'Angelo Russell and Kyrie Irving may be a better player than him, but I think he works better with what they're doing than Kyrie Irving. If I'm the Lakers, I'm good. I'm straight with what we got going on here. I'm straight.
I agree. It's just sad because, like you said, Jay, I think Kyrie will leave the Mavs. He'll walk away from the Mavs at the end of this season. And what is his value going to look like? What team that he wants to go to, that a market he actually, would enjoy going to? I don't even think he wanted to go to the Mavs, but a place that's not Detroit or OKC or something totally random. I don't know what his career is even going to look like after this. And that's really sad. And a lot of that has to do with kind of the decisions that have happened off the court. Maybe some were fair, maybe some weren't. But somebody said the Raptors. Fluent, would you consider him there? Toronto?
No. Listen, I know this won't happen. I would know this won't happen, and people are going to say I'm crazy.
Yeah, that H, no.
Yeah.
No. Under any circumstances, no.
Yeah.
Come for the vet minimum, no.
No. Almost nothing to do with it.
If I was 30 GMs, he wouldn't be playing in the league next year.
I'm not gonna go that far.
That's not gonna happen. He's too talented. He's too skilled. I get it. He'll always find work. He doesn't want to play basketball. I'm sorry. He's not. He plays basketball because he's ridiculously good at it. He doesn't want to play basketball. That's not where he wants to be.
I think he does. I think Kyrie, I don't know him, but I feel like he's a very intellectual man. And I think off the court, I think he just sees things in a different light. Some things sound a little crazy. Some things are a little bit out there, but maybe he just feels like he wants to make a change. And so I think religion is big for him as well. So I think those.
Again, I'm not knocking him. I'm not. That's not
separate.
This isn't a knock on him. I'm great for him that he's intellectual and he's religious, and that's awesome. Cool. If you're not 100% into playing, then you can't get 100% of the attention, of the money, of the you can't. You got to be 100% in it. You can't be a part-time basketball player. I'm sorry. Your head has to be in it. That's
Which you said since he was on the Nets. So
that's not just him. Sense. Not just Kyrie. Anybody. Right? You've said it looks like Ben Simmons doesn't want to play basketball. He doesn't want to play basketball.
Is it fair, Tone?
That one I agree.
Is it fair that he does want to play basketball? It's just the other stuff that comes with it he can do without, and maybe that's one of the reasons why he looks disinterested, and that has maybe affected him more than we giving him credit for.
You can't. I get it, but you can't be a top tier basketball player without without you get the fortune. You got to have the fame. You gotta go. You gotta the criticism. The guys in the stands, from what I hear, didn't really say anything that bad. Didn't really. No, he was heckling him. He was yelling at him. I don't know. So if he did say something bad, then I apologize. But from what I hear, it wasn't that bad. So if he didn't say anything that bad, why'd he get him kicked out? He's too sensitive.
Who is this?
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie.
When they played against Charlotte, sure.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on from the Mavs, we'll see what happens. I mean, they might make it, but probably not doing too much this season. But anything's possible, though. But I want to move over to the East, and then we'll kind of segue into the MVP race.
Right.
The Sixers. Thoughts on the Sixers right now? Some games they played without Joel. Some games they played without Harden. Maxey's kind of been a bright light. But what are your thoughts over there? And on Joel, it seems like people have said he got a lot of second round votes. Jokic got a few less first, number one picks. But what are your thoughts on him, what he's doing, how he's going to hold up in the playoffs, and where the Sixers might go? And will that add to his MVP case?
So
I'm officially not. I'm dropping the MVP. Because I don't know if you know this or not. I did not know this. And I don't care if it's only one vote. I don't care. Do you know that the fans get an MVP vote?
I did not know that. No.
Out of how many though? Like,
well, I don't care. It's one, and I don't care because the MVP vote this year is so close between Jokic, Embiid, and probably Giannis is going to sneak in there. That one section, whatever, that's going to be represented by the fans might be the difference.
Has
So
it
now
always
I'm
been
so it no, never.
This is this season.
This season, it officially does not count in my books. It's out. I don't care who wins. It does not count. I will not be counting MVPs until
even if the fan vote, this fan vote that you talk about, Tone, even if that fan vote is maybe 1% or maybe less than 1%.
If it can change the outcome, if it can change the outcome in a close vote,
I mean, I don't really.
I'm out.
I don't really.
Out. That being said, I've told you. I think the narrative has shifted, and I think this is Joel Embiid's. Even though he didn't play against Jokic, and a lot of people hated that, I think this is still Joel Embiid's MVP to lose. So unless he plays horribly in the last kind of 5 games, I think if they just stay level what the Sixers do now, I think it's MVPs again more narrative than anything else because literally you can Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, all 3 of them, you're not wrong. Whoever you're picking,
yeah.
I just feel the narrative has shifted now to Embiid, so he's gonna get it. But I hate that. When I heard that today, that was just I can't believe I didn't. It's probably a reason why we didn't hear it, because it's horrible.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, Giannis has 2, right? Jokic has 2. Jokic would be making history with this, this third one following and I mean, not making it, but being the third to do it. So that's pretty insane, I guess. But yeah, I feel like Giannis hasn't been spoken about enough, but I do think it's going to be Joel, like you said, Fluent, the narrative around it. It just feels weird. Like if anyone was going to win it last year, I feel like it should have been Embiid. This year, maybe Jokic. But at the end of the day, I mean, we can't be disappointed with any of them, right? Like they all deserve it. They've all been incredible. But yeah, Jay, you're on the same boat.
I've said where I'm at with Joker in terms of the league MVP. Because what I don't want to get confused, best player and league MVP. So if Joker were to win the league MVP this year for the 3rd straight year, are you guys, just you two in particular, are you guys standing on the logic that Joker is the best player in the game? If he were to win the league MVP this year for the 3rd straight year, would that be ridiculous to say Joker is the best player in the game?
Not one of those 3 years he was, yeah.
No, he's not. The MVP does not equate best. So
no, it doesn't, Tone. But now, if we rewind the clock back to '86, when Bird won it for the 3rd straight year, Bird was unequivocally, undisputably, he was the best player in the game. He was better than Dominique. He was better than Magic. Jabbar was over. He was better than Bernard King. He was better than Alex English.
Coincidentally, he was the best player in the game.
He was the best player in the game. So to win the league MVP 3 straight years, this would be the narrative. And the reason why this would be the narrative, because that's the standard. The fact that he won it 3 straight years. When when Chamberlain won it 3 straight years. When Bill Russell won it 3 straight years. So when these guys winning it like that, right? Bird won it 3 straight years. These guys were the best, were not arguably, they were considered the best player in the game. So for Joker to win the league MVP for the 3rd straight year, the narrative is going to be on him. This is the best player in the game. Even though the majority of us don't think that. Now, I will tell you this, Tone. We're talking about a guy in Joker who from the month of March, because the month of March ends tomorrow, the month of March, he's 29, 13, and 10. Not only is he 29 and 13 and 10, Denver is still at the top of the league. You and I have had this conversation more than once, more than twice. I care about winning. I don't just care about you doing work and being the better player. I care about winning. And when I think about Joel Embiid, who, by the way, in the month of March is 34-9, and that team, I think they've won 11 out of 14 this month, including 10 out of 12. But with that being said, they've also won with him out of the lineup. And that Denver team is not nearly as good without Joker in the lineup. So when I think about there's a difference between the best player in the game and the most valuable player in the game, and coincidentally, the best player wins it, but sometimes the best player doesn't. And I'm worried about the narrative if Joker were to win it again, that, Joker is the best player in the game. Like, wait a minute, I'm not sure that he's the best player in the game. He might be the most valuable, but I'm not sure he's the best player in the game.
Hey, well, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I've been thinking about it a lot because there's so many years of basketball I couldn't watch in person because I wasn't alive.
Right.
But it makes me think and kind of value accolades a little bit differently because every season there's a different story, and if the MVP can just go off of a narrative, then does that give those accolades less of a weight in some cases? And I think it does. And so when people only use like accolades as a oh, this person is so great, this person isn't, especially players before they were born, you got to look at the whole story. That's why context is so important. And so I'm not trying to bring down Jokic at all. Like, he deserves whatever he gets. Like, he's been incredible. But yeah, there's no way he's the best player in the league. Absolutely not. I don't even know.
And that's why anyone that only uses one piece of a story, anyways, you can't like if only you use accolades, if you only use stats, if you only use the eye test, I think you're wrong in any one of those situations. But I would say this: when you say the accolades, it takes away from it. Only if you only count the winner. Right? Only if you only count the winner, then I agree with you. But like, for example, I just had this conversation today, which is why it's top of mind. When the Bulls beat the Lakers in 91, Magic was washed. I said, well, hold on. How is he washed? He was 31 years old. He had won the MVP the year before, and he was second in MVP voting that year. That doesn't sound like a player that's washed.
First team All-NBA too, by the way. First team
All-NBA, still averaged 20 and 13, but he was still Magic. Like, to say that he was so that's why I say so. Although he didn't win, everyone says, well, Jordan won it that year.
Right.
Yeah, but Magic was second. You're right. You got to look at who was second, who was third, who got first place votes, who got don't necessarily look at second and third place votes sometimes because people are crazy. Like, I forget who he is, but some guy on NBA radio said he's going to give his third place vote to Jalen Brunson because he's a Knicks fan. So you got to be careful with that, and that's too, right? It's there's those things that happen, but I think you got to look at everything for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Keyshawn, we might have the link, but just drop it in the chat if you have words for me. Just say it. Weird. Okay, so we're gonna do this, and then we'll do some super chats. Okay. Real quick. Wade, Dirk, and Power are headlining the Hall of Fame class of 2023. Love all three of those players. I'm so excited for them. But yeah, Jay, what are your thoughts on this? And do you think they should all be in the Hall of Fame? I guess.
I love it. I love it. Dirk is. You can make an argument, even though I think it's Hakeem Olajuwon, but you can make an argument. Dirk is the best foreign player in NBA history. He basically invented a shot. And now, don't get me wrong. There's an aspect of Dirk's game that I don't appreciate. I really think that Dirk should have been a double-double guy like Bird for his career. He should have been a double-figure rebound guy for his career. But the fact that Dirk was as good as he was for a long time, I mean, that holds a lot of value for me. It holds a lot of value. Dallas Mavericks were in the Western Conference Finals a couple of different times. Not only were they in the Western Conference Finals a couple of different times, they were powered by Dirk. He was the best player on that team. And the fact that Mark Cuban let Steve Nash just walk out the front door, that really hampered them because I think that they would have been a lot better for a lot longer had he held on to them. Dwayne Wade, I think Dwayne Wade is the third best shooting guard in NBA history behind Jordan and Bryant. Ended up leading his team to the NBA Finals, which is dope. No, don't get me wrong. I love everything about that. I think that Dwayne Wade, I'm not going to say revolutionized the guard position, but what he did was he just enhanced it, right? He enhanced what the two guard was, because when Jordan showed up, in order to play the two guard in the NBA, you got to be 6'5", 6'6", and here's Dwayne Wade, he's 6'3", 6'4", and playing above the rim, and he's the best player in Miami Heat history, and everything that he did, taking that Marquette team when he was in college to the Final Four, that's a big deal. Lastly, when I talk about Powell, I don't think we talk about Powell nearly as much. When you guys talk about those Laker teams that went to the NBA championship and how instrumental Powell was, I think that he's a lot. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did for that unit. Not just what he did for that unit, Tone, how much better he was when he came back after what happened between him and Garnett. That first time when he went up against Garnett, and Garnett basically ate his lunch. And I think that that's evident. But him coming back that next year and having that bridge between the Celtics where they played against Orlando, and he was ready to go then. Pau Gasol was one of the five best. You can make an argument he's one of the five best foremen in the game during that time. He was integral in the championship run. So I think it's definitely, these three guys are definitely worthy of being Hall of Fame, not just candidates, but recipients, no doubt.
Fluent, I know you're a little bit more, picky with who you let in.
This might be. I got to go back and look. But I'm going based on my shoddy memory. This might be the first time ever that I agree with every single person going into the Hall, and not just these three. Right? If I give you the list, Dwayne Wade, there's no doubt is a Hall of Famer. You touched on all the reasons. Dirk Nowitzki, no doubt is a Hall of Famer. Don't need to explain that. Pau Gasol, and don't forget, this is the Basketball Hall of Fame. So not just what he did in the NBA, also what he did, in international play. Tony Parker, absolutely a Hall of Famer. Becky Hammon, 100% a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Greg Popovich, 100% a Hall of Famer. So that's the list. It may be the first time ever that I 100% agree with every single one. And let me just say, I know she's coaching in the, I think, WNBA now, but Becky Hammon should have been the first NBA, the female head coach in the NBA. That's fine. I think she should have been. She was a phenomenal player. She's a phenomenal coach. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all 6 of them, 100%. I agree. They all, if you go and look and just, I'm not going to give you all everything they've done. You did it for the first 3 players, but if you look at that whole list,
that's a big deal coming from you, Tone.
That is big time.
When you talk about the Hall of Fame, Tone is very finicky about the Hall of Fame.
I tell you, half the people in the Hall of Fame should be out. When I'm telling you, all 6 of these are deserving. Yeah, I can't say any. I can't give. That's the biggest praise I can give them.
Yeah, and don't leave out that Becky Hammon. I mean, she coached that Las Vegas team. They won the WNBA championship last year.
Oh, she phenomenal. Yeah, she was like I said, phenomenal player, phenomenal coach.
She coached in the NBA as well, right? Or
she was
assistant, right?
She was assistant on the top.
Yeah.
And,
so maybe she'll step in, but I mean, she's had experience. It's not too late. So yeah. What?
I'm laughing at Low. I sent them a TikTok today. Baron Davis explaining how when he came into the league versus an old Stockton, and he thought, "Who's this dude?" And he housed him. Housed him. And
he said, "quote Stockton had me thinking, should I even be playing basketball?"
Yes, sir.
Oh,
that's okay.
Am I sorry? Should I even be playing basketball?
This might not be the right sport for me.
Oh no.
I'll go play tennis.
So
all right.
For those that are watching for the first time, you should know that is huge praise for me to to say that.
Tone is very finicky. Tone is very finicky about the Hall of Fame. He's like, you out, you out, you out, you out, you. Well, maybe you definitely out. You out. You out. You out.
yeah, exactly. I know half of them I think should be out. And let me just call out again, super chat from King Dudley. Get them likes out. Shout out Chill and First Cousin Shaq. I'm gonna have Chill text him just so that that's how bad I feel that I missed it. You want to do? You have something else? I know you have other things, but you want to do?
Let's do it. Let's get through some super chats, and then we'll jump into our next topic.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Andrew Sullivan, thank you so much. Hey, I'm fairly new to the pod. First one that I've seen live. I was having an argument with my brother about who is the best third option of all time. I think Klay, Worthy, Ginobili are the 3 best. Who y'all got?
I think that's easy. It's James Worthy, Finals MVP. I mean, I don't think that's a question. I mean, how many number 3s average 20 a game? Not many. I think Klay averaged 20 a game. Yeah. James Worthy averaged 20 a game. I don't think Ginobili ever averaged 20 a game. But James Worthy as a legit number 3. Now, don't get me wrong. Klay Thompson wasn't always a number 3. He was only a number 3 for that section when KD showed up. He was a number 2 before KD showed up. It was Steph, it was him, and it was Dre. So he was only a number 3 for those 3 years. James Worthy was that up until I think 88. Yeah, I think up until 88. And to have an option like James Worthy, the one-on-one player that he was, not just the one-on-one player that he was, the transition player that he was, how awesome he was as a finisher. Yeah, I think it's James Worthy.
So when we say number 3, are we talking about offensive option? Are we talking about third best player on the team? Is that what we're talking about? Third best player?
Hey, Tone, don't start it, Tone.
Yeah.
You know what a number 3 is, Tone. Just like you know what a number 1 is. You know what a number 2 is.
I'm just clarifying. So it's the third, because
Their best player.
was Klay the second option, or was Green the second option?
When they won the NBA championship,
They won the NBA championship.
Klay was the number 2.
It was number 2. Okay,
Yeah.
Klay was number 2. All right.
Oh, now you're gonna give Draymond credit now.
Here we go,
Really?
Here we go.
I was asking you because you always be telling me how important Draymond Green is, so I'm asking the question. Like, he's the facilitator, he's the defender, he's the, he's that guy. So I wanted to get that clear.
Just checking.
So here's the thing. First, I'll give you my biased opinion, which is James Worthy is my favorite college basketball player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
James Worthy got drafted. Thank you, by the way, to Cleveland for trading that pick for a bag of donuts to the Lakers. The worst owner ever, brother. An owner's bad when the NBA has to come in and take him out for not for doing something scandalous, because you're running the team into the ground. But that being said, thank you, Cleveland, for passing that pick off so that the Lakers could draft James Worthy. So now my favorite college basketball player of all time goes to my favorite team. They don't call him Big Game James for nothing. So I would say, I'm going to say James Worthy. That being said, I don't want to discount the fact that Klay, when we say a third option, obviously it's only those 2 years with the KD rings. He's a number 2. He's actually a number 2 on championship teams multiple times. Right. So he's actually a number 2. So picking Klay would not be crazy to say, because he's actually a number 2, just shifted down to a 3 for a couple of years. Manu's the interesting one for me, because he came off the bench. So he's kind of running that second unit. We know how great Manu is, maybe one of the best, if not the best, 6-man ever. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking Parker, I'm thinking Duncan. Now there's a couple years where Kawhi was in there. So where is he like a 3-4, right? Like he's obviously the third option and then maybe the fourth option in sometimes. So he's actually playing down, whereas Klay is playing up. So if I had to rank them, maybe I would go Worthy, Klay, Manu, but you can literally flip that order and you'd be fine too. So Klay's the tough. I'm still talking and rambling because Klay's the tough one, because Klay's. I don't think Klay gets enough credit for how good of an offensive and defensive player he is, because of everything else that went on with the Warriors.
And James Worthy eventually became a number 2, right? Right. But he eventually became a number 2 later on. This was in like 89. This is like 88, 89. Yeah, well,
as Kareem. Cap
right. But this was in year like 6. This wasn't him. This wasn't him doing this like right from the beginning, like Klay was. Right. This was him in year 6. And to your point, Tone, that is not a self-proclaimed name, ladies and gentlemen. Big Game James is a name that was given to him for a reason. He didn't just show up and start calling himself Big Game James. He showed up in big games. He was the Finals MVP against the bad boy Detroit Pistons, who nobody could really handle offensively. They had a difficult time, and James Worthy was.
And let's be clear. When the Lakers, because people bring this up about Magic all the time, when they got swept by the Sixers, you know who wasn't playing? Big Game James.
Not only that series, he didn't play the entire playoffs. He broke his leg before the playoffs. He broke his leg before the playoffs. So
he made a difference.
Right.
Okay, next one. Oh yeah, somebody said the Bucks got absolutely destroyed. Did they end up losing by 40 more or more, or
smoked H? And I'm still and again, I'm still riding with Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee in a 7-game series.
The chat's been asking.
I'm still riding with Milwaukee. I think that and what I don't do, Tone, is I'm not going to overreact because of something like this. I watched the Miami Heat in 2006 get blown out by the Dallas Mavericks. I think they beat them by 35. They end up winning the NBA championship that year. So I'm not going to.
140 140 99.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I watched the Bulls in '98. They go into the Forum, and the Lakers beat them by 25. So there's championship teams get blown out. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable, and the Milwaukee Bucks definitely need a fine tuning, no doubt about that. I'm still riding with them though.
Are we all gonna after we wrap up the show, I'll go watch the Pelicans and the Nuggets?
I am going to watch.
I'm going to watch it. Yes, I think it'll be.
Yes, I am.
The Pelicans will give them some trouble. And you know what? I'm also going to say this: the Warriors have been beaten by Denver every single time they've played this season. But they have a game coming up, and I think that Golden State's going to win that game at Denver. So just saying that. All right, Alex Pickering. After watching the Mavs versus Sixers yesterday, Luka won't ever win a chip with another star unless he changes his play style. Thoughts?
Changes his play style how? I mean, he gets off the basketball with Kyrie Irving. Now, don't get me wrong. Luka is ball dominant. Kyrie Irving is ball dominant. And I think Luka knows how to play without the basketball. He did that last year in the playoffs with Brunson. Like, he got off the basketball playing with Brunson. It wasn't like he was playing with Brunson and he was just a complete ball hog taking all the shots. No, he had another guy who was a shot creator. He could get off the basketball. I don't think that's an issue with Luka. I think the issue with Luka more than anything is the other aspects of his game. Like, Luka got to be better defensively. He has to be.
This isn't a Luka problem. This is a Dallas problem. Mm-hmm. And I'm not comparing these two players. I'm going to use them, but I'm not comparing them to each other. Okay. When the Lakers got Westbrook, what did I say? I said, it's not going to work because Westbrook, to his strengths, he needs to have the ball in his hands. Well, he can't be on a team with LeBron James, who needs the ball in his hands, on a team with Anthony Davis, who needs the offense to run through him for them to be successful.
Right.
That's just play style. Mm-hmm. So you put Kyrie Irving. Well, no, this doesn't show me that he can't play with the star. This just shows me that you can't have a ball dominant Luka playing with a ball dominant Kyrie because that's basketball. There's one ball. You can't split it and share it. Right. So why I say the issues with Dallas is Luka needs to change nothing. Okay. Maybe a little bit more defensive effort.
Yes.
But in terms of, since most people are talking 80-90% about offense, they just need to build the team around him. Well, what do they need to build? Well, if we know that he's ball dominant and he's going to shoot the ball, he's going to score and he can pass. Great. Let's get a couple of shooters around him. Let's get a rebounder and let's get at least two of those, maybe three, who are solid, if not really good defenders. You have to build. If you think of the teams that were really successful, it's about the team. What did we do with Giannis? Well, we know that Giannis can bring the ball up. We know that Giannis can score in transition, and we know that he's not a very good shooter, but he's a great defender, especially down low. Well, what did we do? We put we upgraded our perimeter defender and
Drew
Holiday. We have a scorer in Chris Middleton who can knock down shots, but also can score if he's having a bad night. We brought in dirty work guys like PJ Tucker and Bobby Portis, and then Lopez transitioned himself from just a rebounder to now he's a rebounder and can knock down threes at will, and he's a good defender. We built a team around him. I'll go back to the 90s Bulls. What did they do? Well, they have Jordan. Hey, you're going to score. Pippen, you're going to be the Swiss Army knife to do everything. At the time, Horace Grant, you're going to rebound. The other guys, BJ Armstrong, Steve Kerr, etc., knock down shots, and everybody off the bench, your energy, rebounders, defense, whatever. Mm-hmm. Why did they fail against the Magic? They lost their rebounder because they literally had a job for one person. Your job is to rebound and defend, Horace Grant. Well, he left. So, let's get another guy who can rebound and defend. What happens? They win another 3. I don't know why this is so difficult for people to understand. LeBron James would have, you don't have a heart attack when I say this. LeBron James would have 10 plus rings if they were smart enough to put a shooter, a defender, and a rebounder around him. That's all they had to do. He could do everything else. Yeah. No one was smart enough to figure that out for some reason. And it's the same thing with Luka. You know what his strengths are? Perfect. Now I need 4 other people that accentuate his positive and cover up his negative. That's it. It's simple. Why Mark Cuban isn't already doing that? I don't know.
They are making this a lot more difficult than it really should be, Tone. They are. I mean, don't get me wrong. You could hear the logic that it's not as simple as it sounds. Well, how come teams like Toronto? How come when in the 80s with the Celtics and with the Lakers, we've seen good GMing.
Yeah,
we've seen that. We haven't seen. It's not like we haven't seen guys in terms of GMs make good trades. Not just make good trades, make good draft picks when they already have really good teams. We've seen that. So there's no reason why you can't do it as well. There's no reason why you can't do that.
Yeah. I also think, I mean, yes, it's as easy as building around a player, but then there's the intangibles of like, well, what are each of those players' mentality? What is the leadership on that team? Like all those things come into play as well.
Yep.
And I just don't, I mean, I think he'd say this about himself. He's not a leader really on the court. You know, he'll fill in where he can and fill in the gaps and do his thing in some high pressure moments, but Luka has to be that leader. And it's probably difficult with having someone like Kyrie come in and they're just like both like hesitant. I think that's just where it is right now. And I don't know if it's going to work, but
yeah, any coach will take a 6 who's a good role player team guy over a 9.
yeah.
That's a pain in the butt.
Yes,
Because
that's
at
a
least
fact.
they'll be willing to be teachable and improve.
Yeah.
Okay, Double P. Since the playoffs are near, I want to hear from each of you. Who has been your favorite team to watch since the break? For me, it's Brooklyn. I like that.
Brooklyn.
They've been fun actually. Dinwiddie's a star, and Mikhail, and it's a good set of guys.
I'm really digging the Clippers, Tone. I know I know that sounds nuts, but the reason why I'm digging the Clippers, is because what Russ is doing. Because Russ gets and I'm not a huge Russ fan, but Russ gets such a bad rap. Everything is Russ's fault. No matter what, the team sucked. That's Russ's fault.
Yep.
We can't score. That's Russ's fault. We can't stop anybody. That's Russ's fault. Everything is Russell Westbrook's fault. So when Russ gets on this Clippers team, which is exactly what they need a primary ball handler and a distributor to take the pressure off Leonard, to take the pressure off Paul George. And it's actually been working. It's not something that's been, oh, these guys are terrible. No, it's actually been working, and Russ looks really good. In fact, last night, he looked really good last night. And again, we got to accept the fact, Tone, that he's going to throw the ball in the second row. He's going to do that. That's going to happen. He's going to shoot the ball at the top of the backboard. That's going to happen. But I'm liking the fact that he's fitting in really well with this unit. So the Clippers have been really fun to watch.
I'm going to stay in the West, but I'm going to go with a team that I'm sorry that I'm going to admit this. I'm sorry, Bob. I kept waiting to drop off. I kept waiting for Sacramento to just
yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And they haven't. And man, to see them just keep it going has been fun to watch. They just night in, night out. There's chaos going on in the West. Things are flipping and flopping and they're just going just steady, man. And so that has actually been a pleasant surprise. I like being wrong when it's about stuff like this where just like, the Kings are done. Oh, the Kings are done. This is now it's going to happen. No, and they just been consistent, and I love that. I love consistency. I tell you my issue with Jason Tatum. He's too damn inconsistent. I don't like this. I'm good. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Yeah, mine is back in the East, and it has to be the Knicks because somewhat of the same thing. The Knicks are that team that you feel like they're never going to win another ring. Like it's just not meant for them. They're cursed. Like two is it. That's just collar wraps there. But mostly, especially for Brunson. Brunson throughout most of the regular season, he was an all-star. He was he's just been so big, and he proved that narrative that he was just playing good for another contract. No, he's just a good player. He's a solid star. Julius Randle, hopefully he's going to be okay. I think he's out for 2 weeks, which is a huge blow for the Knicks. Hopefully they can hang in there. But Emmanuel quickly has just popped off. People are saying, 6th man of the year. He's at least on there. It might go to Brogdon or Brooks.
H, where did that come from though, H? Because like all of a sudden, Emmanuel Quigley is like the favorite. Like if the season ended today, everybody is telling me Emmanuel Quigley is the 6th man of the year. I'm like, yo, does Bobby Portis not exist? Am I bugging out?
Bobby's at like 6 on the list.
Yeah, like what happened?
Bobby Portis up to 6th?
I think he's down. It's like
no, as I said, he dropped to 6.
Maybe not. Maybe he's a little bit higher.
Portis was leading it for a minute.
That's what I'm thinking.
Brogdon right now, which is weird. I mean, Brogdon's been great. No, obviously he's been so good, but more so early in the first half of the season. So all I have to say though, there's some teams out here. It's just fun seeing teams like if the Warriors play and get bounced by the Kings, I'm not even gonna be mad. Like, go for it. Go to the finals, Kings. You know, like I want to see it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
You know how hot that would be, and I can't believe I'm saying this neither. Like if the Sacramento Kings ended up in the NBA Finals, what? That's lighting the league on fire.
That's the finals I want to see.
Like, that would light the league on fire. No doubt about that. No doubt.
Oh man,
the Knicks can't win. The Knicks can't win without Phil Jackson. Come on, as a player.
We're actually going to get into this super chat right here. We're actually going to talk about this. Yeah. You hold on to that.
Hold on to that one? Okay.
Because we're going to talk about this, sports. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Vamp, is there realistically anything Luka can do to eventually become a good defender?
Give more effort, Vamp. How about that? How about that? How about give more effort? Get back on defense. Get in a stance. When you get beat, recover. Make an effort to recover instead of just letting everything else happen around you. Some of the best defenders. I'm not even gonna go as far as to say best defenders. Some good defenders aren't just reactionary defenders. Some good defenders are action defenders. They create the action. Luka isn't like that. Luka misses a shot, trots back on defense. He gets beat, zero effort to recover. Oh man, when you talk about a guy being a good defender, the first thing that has to be there, it has to be effort. Because again, my man, I've said this countless times. I can teach you footwork. I can teach you how to slide. I can teach you footwork. I can teach you how to block out. I can teach you how to slip blockouts. I can teach you all of those things. At the end of the day, defense is effort. Drop your ass, get your hands moving, get your feet busy. That's what defense is. Same thing with rebounding. Stick your nose in there and go get the basketball. That's what rebounding is. I can teach you how to block out. I can teach you how to slip blockouts. I can teach you all of those things. Stick your nose in there and go get the basketball. Same thing with Luka. The effort has to be there, and it's not. That's where the problem lies with him, because that team can use, especially when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, that team can use big stops. Now, don't get me wrong. You have teams where, okay, that's not my job. But, Tone, since when has defense not been your job?
2007.
Like, that's not.
I think a lot of players need this talk.
That's not in the fine print anymore. Like, you don't have to defend.
It's okay. Look, there's no expectation that you're going to be a great defender, right? Even the super chat was be a good defender, and to be a good defender in the NBA, you need to have positioning, good hand, move your feet. Try is actually the biggest thing you need to do to be a good defender. Because if you're in the NBA, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're probably a little bit athletic. A little bit. No, I'm not saying crazy athletic, but you're a little bit athletic. Mm-hmm. You probably know something about footwork, hand positioning that you got. Like, you probably know what you're supposed to do, move your feet, box out, all the stuff you mentioned. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to try. Magic Johnson was not a great defender. Some people would say he's not even a good defender.
He was average.
But 9 times out of 10, he tried.
Yeah, he did.
Like, he didn't walk back. Like he had little short strides a lot of the time. But he would try to get back, and he used his size and he used his height, and he tried. He got in your way. Mm-hmm. Luka just feels like he's like, no, don't worry. If he scores, he got a 2. Okay, I'll get a 3. Like, it's just it's that drives you nuts sometimes, and I think that's where the frustration comes in with Luka. Here's the thing, it might be that he is trying, and he just looks like he's not, because there's people that you see, like, just the way that they look, it's like, oh, he's putting in no effort, but they're actually really trying. So maybe, I don't think so, but maybe.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of players, they put effort in later, and it grows as their career grows with them. So hopefully for Luka, that'll happen. Next super chat, Double P. Who's a better player at 24 years old, MJ or Luka?
Who's a better player at 24, MJ or Luka? So that was Jordan was 24 in the 86-87 season. Jordan was a much better player than Luka at 24 years old. I'm not saying he was a better player. He's a much better player than Luka. And the separator was on the defensive side of the basketball. Mm-hmm. He was a much better player than Luka.
Far wider skill set at that age too.
Yes.
Luka. But yeah, okay.
I agree.
Okay, I was gonna say. Okay, Mavs fan 772. Mavs won't be good till they fire Kid Udoka. Come on. You know what's crazy is I don't know. I mean, J Kid struggled with some of the lineups, but he's a good coach. I feel like, isn't he?
I don't think he's a bad coach.
I don't think he's a good coach.
Really?
I think he's sorry, let me rephrase that. I think he's a good
assistant.
Is he a good coach? Is he not a good coach for this unit, or is he not a good coach?
I don't think he's I don't think he's a good head coach. Like, I want him on my staff. I think he can teach my point guards a lot. I think he could teach my big men how to rebound. Like, the dude averaged, like, I think the same amount of rebounds as one of the Lopez brothers, who's a 7-foot center. Right. So I think he's I'd like him on my staff, but I see his inconsistent minutes, his inconsistent lineups, his inconsistency as a coach, and I think that is typical of a player turned coach, which is, sometimes they take things a little too personal. They put people in the doghouse, and then it's really hard for them to get out. Those are things we see a lot with players turned coach, and so I think he unfortunately falls into that kind of that role sometimes.
With that being said, Tone, you're a football guy. Is Jason Kidd the North Turner of pro basketball?
North Turner? No, he's more like Mike McCarthy. More like Charlie Weiss. Like anyone who's been Josh McDaniel. Yeah, anyone who's been under like Bill Belichick. Like, he would be great as an assistant for positional coach. He's just not the guy to lead the team.
Like, if he was like your defensive,
which is weird because on the court, he led the team. And it's not translating for some reason. It doesn't mean he can't get better, but as of right now, I just don't think he's that guy. He's not gonna coach a team to an NBA championship, and you're gonna be like, damn, Jason Kidd did a great coaching job there. I don't see that happening. Okay. But like, wasn't he but when he was the assistant on the Lakers, right? Like, you missed him when he left and went to Dallas. Like, Lakers missed him. So
dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. Right. Are you laughing?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Oh, okay.
I like J Kidd, but I just feel like I don't know.
I like J Kidd too.
And I can recognize his weaknesses in spaces, but I just don't know if it's really him issue or what. But okay, Double P. Which player are you most disappointed in that is not currently present in the MVP race? Tatum, KD, or Doncic? None for me. I'm good on all three. KD missed too much time. Tatum has probably been the best out of those three, and Luka has done what he can with little, but none.
Probably KD for me, simply because he hasn't been healthy. That's the disappointing part for me. The fact that he hasn't been on the floor, because he was on his way to being a serious candidate when he was in Brooklyn. If he stays healthy,
you're not disappointed that none of them are being mentioned, right?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Giannis is the only out of the other two. Giannis is the one I think that should be number 3 or up.
But I think he is the consensus in that. Like, I think it's Jokic and forget the order, just Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. I think that's the conversation. But yeah, you hit it. You hit it exactly. It's none of the three really deserve to be in it right now, based on either availability, their team's record. So yeah. Oh, you're waiting on me. My bad.
No, you're good. Andrew G. Not worried. Buks Chill. Jays are confident at Bucks.
I am. I am. I'm still confident in the Bucks, but I did not appreciate this ass kicking tonight. Not one bit. No way. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's ugly. Angie Carr. I heard that current players not playing multiple sports like previous generations contribute to their bodies not being as strong as previous players. Huh.
Facts.
I think you should definitely partake in various sports, whether it's more like track or swimming or other things, just to work out your body.
If you look at all the guys that were had good longevity or durability, one or the other, most of them, look, there's always exceptions, so don't say, but this person and that person. I know there's exceptions, but for the most part, the ones that played multiple sports, because each sport works out different parts of your body. And I said this again, I was having this conversation today, Jordan coming back, and they were like, Jordan, was rusty. He wasn't rusty when he came back in 95. He dropped 55 on the Knicks. I'm like, no, he wasn't rusty. He wasn't in basketball shape. That doesn't mean he wasn't in shape. but he was in baseball shape, and you use very different muscles to play one game versus the other, and it's hard. And like I remember, I just came right out of basketball, and I started playing baseball, and I want to say it was the second or third game in, and I was out in the outfield, took off for a fly ball. My next at bat, I hit like a grounder, and I sprint off to first, and I blow a tire. And I'm like, damn, like I'd been so healthy and strong and had no issues through the whole basketball season. And it was a muscle that just doesn't get used in basketball. As I pushed off to like go for first. And it's like, you have to understand that. So when guys do different things, it works. Like LeBron is a great example, played football, played basketball, right? So there's those, again, there's going to be exceptions, but for the most part, yeah, I think we've, and the other part is, I'm going on a tangent because with my youth team, I do this, right? Is that sometimes they play one particular sport too much. So like with AAU and these traveling teams, you got kids playing. I said this to you a couple of weeks ago, like over 100 games, and they're getting these little micro fractures that just weaken. And then when they hit 25, 30 years old, their bodies are just like, and they can't, they get a bunch of injuries.
It's interesting you mentioned that too, Tone, because two things, H. I mean, even though it was a freak accident, I mean, Bo Jackson, not only did he play football, he ran track, and he was on a baseball team. So Bo was the consummate athlete. I mean, that wasn't him getting hurt. That wasn't because he wasn't taking care of his body. That was a freak accident. That's all that was. But to Tone's point, I remember when I was playing basketball, when I was in the thick of it, like my off-season workout in the summertime was swimming. And I remember going up and down the pool one time and like, I'm thinking to myself, damn, I got to be in better shape than this, but it's completely different muscles. Different muscles, man. Way different.
Yeah, I swam like my whole lifeguarding was like my first job. So I swam from when I was 4 years old to like after high school. And I think that's, if you could do like any other sport like that, like that's probably the best thing you can do for your body. But I think most athletes are going to be able to do pretty much everything, but I think you should definitely try to take part in multiple things if you can, if you have time for it.
And for those playing basketball, football, specifically the ones I know the most, don't be afraid, don't be ashamed, right? Dance, ballet, gymnastics. I know you're gonna laugh, but those work your footwork, your court, soccer. Steve Nash, right, gives all his credit for his play on the basketball court to the footwork he learned from soccer. Play those other sports because they give you other things that who was it? Lynn Swan, who did ballet. And he's like, you see me jump up and catch that? I learned how to do that.
Really?
I learned how to do that playing, I learned how to do that because of ballet. So like, like good footwork, core muscles, dude, they're universal.
Okay, Angie, this is the reasoning behind it is that it was because they focus solely on basketball. They don't train and strengthen the other muscles for their other sports. Facts. Right. And once you it's just like working out. You don't want to do the same thing every single day because eventually your body kind of gets numb to it. Like you have to force your other parts of your body to,
Yeah, playing one sport, it's like going to the gym every single day and just doing curls.
That's not good enough.
You can't skip leg day. You can't skip leg day.
You need that.
See those big dudes with the skinny legs?
Oh yeah, seen them. All right, People Boy, what is up? Sorry, Fluent, but I got my money on Chill, winning King of the Court this Saturday. What?
Let's find out.
I have my money on Chill too because it's voted by the chat and it's a popularity contest.
Oh, is it you too?
Oh yeah, we're doing King of the Court of the panel. There's like, I don't know, 8 of us. We're gonna do King of the Court, and my money's on Chill too because, like I said, it's a popularity contest. And if I learned anything doing this show, is that we do these drafts, and my team's by far the best, and he gets more votes. So I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna actually put money on him too. So at least when I walk out with some, I take the L, but I actually get the win in the wallet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you, People Boy.
What day? Saturday.
Saturday, 2 p.m. This Saturday, April Fools. It's no joke.
2 o'clock.
All right.
Nope, not that one.
Rolo 555. Should Dwight Howard have won the MVP in 2011?
The 4th place team in the East that year. I mean, don't get me wrong. Statistically, Dwight was awesome. I mean, I think he led the league in rebounding that year. I think he not only did he lead the league in rebounding, I think wasn't he the defensive player of the year that year too?
I believe he was. Yeah.
I think he was the defensive player of the year that year. I think he was 23 and 14, 22 and 14 that year. Orlando was in 4th place in the East, so that might be a bit of an issue, especially coming off. I mean, they just was in the NBA Finals 2 years ago, and when you think about value, I mean, he did come in second. You can make an argument that Dwight Howard was the MVP. I think that if Orlando would have finished top 3, he would have won it.
Really?
Yeah, I think if they would have finished top 3, I think he would have won it. But to finish in 4th place, I think that might have been the knock on him, considering what Derrick Rose did with that Chicago team.
Yeah.
So do you think Derrick Rose just really won it because of the 62 wins?
That's the only reason why he won it.
Because I'm looking like you said, I got the Defensive Player of the Year putting up 23 and 14.
Yep.
Like it's not that far off of Derrick Rose's, what was 25, 7 and 4. So it wasn't like his stat line was significantly better.
Right.
If you go to advanced stats, I believe Dwight Howard, had better win share.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, maybe he should have. Maybe he should have. Because when you look at it, what do you say about Derrick Rose? It's like, I don't know. Did he deserve that MVP? Was it just because he won 62 games?
Yep.
Right. Here's a guy who's doing it on both sides of the court. And now we've shown that, the record isn't all that important.
It's not everything now, right? That's why I think that if they would have finished as a top 3 seed, I think he wins the league MVP, Tom. I do. Over James, by the way. I think he wins it.
Okay. Nice. Andrew Sullivan. If you took the 2 years off.
Why are you saying his name like that?
Me?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Sullivan.
Sullivan.
Isn't it Sullivan? I'm just asking.
Maybe you're Canadian. I don't know. Okay, if you took 2 years off. Wait, do you say visa or
there is no maybe, H. He is Canadian.
Caramel? Do you say caramel?
Via Greece.
Caramel.
Oh, okay.
Caramel.
Via Greece. We got it. We got a Canadian in the house.
Greece and Canadian. Okay, Andrew.
Yep.
Sullivan.
Yes. Sullivan.
Sullivan. Okay.
Sullivan.
If you took the 2 years of Klay and Worthy's 2 best years, who would y'all take as your third? Big Game James. Wait, did we not do that? Oh, Big Game James.
No. This is a follow-up.
Yeah, I see. And Game 6 Klay, they were both good enough to be second options. They were both great defenders and 20-point scorers. Yes.
If you take their 2 best years, James Worthy.
I'm still taking James Worthy. I'm taking
James Worthy. No doubt about it. I'm taking James Worthy over Klay Thompson.
How many years was?
I feel like James, Mr. Sullivan. I think you really like Klay and you want to figure out a way to get us to say Klay.
Yeah, that's what it sounds.
And that's okay if Klay's your pick. It's not a bad pick. I'm sticking with
Big Game James was something. He showed up in 82. He showed up in 82, and he his last season was in 94.
Okay, 12 years.
Yeah. In 94, all with the Lakers.
Yeah. Angie again. Exactly. Chill. Swimming ain't no joke. He'll be conditioned for sure. Timmy did it before basketball, and he got 5 chips out of it. USVI stand up.
I was going when I first started implementing that in my workout. Like I said, I went up and down, and this was before I was running. Also, right? I was running. I thought I was in great basketball shape. I get in that pool and I go up and down one time, and I'm like, I gotta be in better shape than this. Am I in this bad of shape? No, man. It's like, no, you're using completely different muscles, yo. No, it's not what you think it is. It's not basketball. Way different.
I was a swimmer. I can't run. Like, I still can't run to this day. I'll try. I can do about a mile and then I'm done because it's like it's just different muscles. All right, Double P. Which hypothetical would you rather watch? Giannis in the 90s amongst the skilled bigs, or Shaq active in the NBA post 2015 with more 3-point shooting? Oh, I gotta take Shaq. Yeah.
I love Shaq, yo.
Yeah.
Man, I love Shaq. Even though I'd love to see Giannis going up against Malone and Barkley and Webber and KG. I would love to see that. But Shaq in today's game, the transition player that Shaq is, right? Not just the transition player, the one-on-one player Shaq is. I would love to see Shaq in today's game.
I would love to see Orlando Shaq in today's NBA. The guy who can, take it off the board with a little hip hop, as he would say, and go coast to coast and, no look past. I would love to see that Shaq.
Right.
I don't want to see Celtic Shaq. I don't want to see I don't want to see the big cactus. I want Orlando Shaq. I would love to see. But don't get me wrong. I think Giannis would be fun to watch because he would have a disadvantage in the block, but he would have such an advantage in transition that would be fun. Like he would force a team to run, and I think that would be fun too. That would be fun too.
They would have to do that, Tone. No, you just put up a really great. They would have to. If Giannis is on your team, we got to speed the game up because we got a deer, literally.
Yeah, I'm throwing. Forget the '90s. Let me throw Giannis on the '80s Lakers with Magic.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Because he takes 3 strides and he's at the rim, right?
Magic would
be in heaven.
Oh
take James Worthy off that crew and put Giannis on.
I feel like one of those quarterbacks that has Randy Moss. I'm just gonna throw it up there. He's out there somewhere.
We're not running no plays for Randy. Just run go route. That's all we doing.
I'll throw it up there. He's out there somewhere.
Oh man. Okay, double P's. Start bench cut these bucket getters. Oh no, Austin Reeves, Jordan Poole, Tyrese Maxey.
Well, we'll start the conversation with, and I told you H, that I was okay with letting James Harden walk out the front door because I wanted to give the ball to Tyrese Maxey. I wanted to give him the ball and let him run it. So I'm starting Maxey.
Yeah,
I'm starting Maxey. I'm benching Poole and I'm cutting Austin.
Yeah, I agree. As iffy as Jordan Poole has been this season, he is so. When he's on, he is really, really special, and he's only going to get better. I've been tough on him this season. I won't lie, but he's special. He'll have. I think his career is going to bring more consistency for him for sure. And Austin, I love Austin, but let's be real here. The media is trying to push him because he's a Laker, because he's had a few great games, and he's been awesome. But he is not anywhere near as good as those two at this point. Defensively, he's been great as well, and he has maybe a different skill set than the other two. But when it comes to bucket getters, I gotta take Tyrese and Jordan.
You have been really tough on Poole. What's going on with that, H?
Because it's really hard for me. Maybe you guys could understand this with your players and teams in the past. Okay,
right.
Imagining. I know he's going to kind of come in and take Steph's spot eventually. That's kind of what he's there for. He's to fill in Steph's shoes, and he's been learning and all these things. And it's really hard to imagine anyone ever taking that space from me. So I'm just really hard on him. He's so inconsistent. His turnovers are crazy. His head is just always in the clouds sometimes. But the last few games, I've seen what I saw last season, and he is not looking around. He's not playing, and he's not laughing, and that's all great. He's zoned, and I can see it in his eyes, and that's what I want to see when it's important. Do your thing for the regular season, but now it's time to lock in, and he's done that. So shout out to you, Jordan.
Yeah, you guys are wrong. Austin Reeves start.
You're so biased.
I'm benching Maxey, and I'm throwing Jordan Poole back into the pool because he can't do nothing for me. Austin Reeves, baby. Lakers in 6.
Lakers and you've been brainwashed, Flint. Oh man. Assist. If Book wins Finals MVP, does that hurt KD's legacy?
Well, first of all, can we get to the finals? Can we do that first in Phoenix before we talking about winning the Finals MVP? Can we at least get to the finals? Not to mention, if I'm not mistaken, KD had just mentioned that he ain't even on the legacy no more because apparently his legacy doesn't matter. So he's not even in the conversation anymore. So he doesn't care about his legacy.
Would you like me to read what he said?
Yeah, can you?
Sure.
Please.
He said, I don't care about legacy. I used to want to carve out a lane or space in this game for myself that people can remember, but it's become too much of a thing now. It just becomes too much of a focus on other people. What's he done? What's he done? Comparisons. Before, when we wasn't doing all this debating, I cared about it. I'm about to be in the same breath as these top guys. It was big. You can go read the rest for yourself.
Okay, number one, we were always debating, so it was never a question of whether we weren't debating.
Yes, that's just a bold-faced lie that we weren't debating.
Yes, we were. We was always talking about who was better than this guy. Who was better.
Like when I was a kid, the old folks were debating Wilt or Russell.
Yes.
And then it was Magic or Bird. And then it was so the fact that he says they weren't debating is a bold-faced lie.
Yes,
so let's call out KD, who we know watches the show. You're over the conversation because you're not in it anymore.
And you're not in it, and you're not in it anymore because of you. It's not like you're not in it anymore because somebody else just surpassed you. No, you're not in it anymore because of you. And can we please kill the logic? I don't care. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
He cares. He does, and that's okay.
If you didn't care, just another FYI, if you didn't care, you wouldn't have had the statement. There wouldn't be this quote to read if you didn't care. If you didn't care, you just go about your business. You'd get healthy. You'd play with the Suns, and you'd try to win a championship.
You would have never left.
And it hurt you. And hold on. And it should hurt you, Kevin Durant. It should hurt you because I get it. You were talented enough to be a top 5, top 10 player all time. Yep. Unfortunately, for certain things, it didn't happen, and now you'll never be in that conversation, no matter what happens. Yep. So that's why that super chat, cool. It doesn't matter. They're making the finals anyways, but it just doesn't matter. So I feel bad for KD. I do, because he had that trajectory, and it's just not there. So,
man, I love KD, but
sorry, not sorry, I believe, as the kids would say.
He had some good situations that he chased for.
He's not a superstar. No,
yeah, we're not doing this. We're not
no, chill out, yo. We
got like we don't have enough time for that one.
No, we're short on time. We're short on time.
But yeah, all right, next super chat. We want to get through all of them. I know.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Oscar R. Mike Tyson is not even top 25 all time. And his era was full of bums. He is overrated by casuals and underrated by legit boxing fans.
That is not true.
Right, so let me just say this. I'm gonna say this really quick. I'm gonna say this really quick, and we're moving on to the next super chat because we do want to get to our main topic.
Okay.
By the way,
yeah.
Muhammad Ali looked me in the face across the table and said, "He's one of the greatest. He would beat me at my best. That's good enough for me." You want to argue with Muhammad Ali? Go find him. You know where he is, and you can argue with him. I'm gonna go with Muhammad Ali over you, over some media dude, over anybody. I'm going with what Muhammad Ali told me straight to my face. All right.
Okay. Yeah. That's crazy. Reggie Reg, Fluent. I'm joining Alvin Ailey dance troupe today.
Yeah, Reggie Reg, do it, baby. Do it, baby.
Yeah. Congrats.
I think he means we can get some better footwork, but yes, you should do it.
Okay, Johnny's why are Suns contenders? I know they're stacked, but championship pedigree takes chemistry, depth, defense. Suns can't be contenders. Base of a few games.
I agree with that. I do.
Yep.
Yes, I do agree with that.
You know I do.
Yep, I do agree with that. This KD's second game yesterday. You're not just gonna throw him in the lineup and we're gonna win it? I don't think so.
Do you know that who are the 3 dudes that got Dinwiddie, Johnson, and whatever the third dude is, Bridges, have played more games together already as Nets than Kyrie, KD,
isn't that crazy?
And Kyrie? Isn't that like, I feel like the trade deadline was last week and they've already played more games.
It really feel like it was, right? I feel like it was like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. Alex Pickering. KD is probably the best plug-in player we've ever seen. Who else joins him in top 5?
Best plug-in player. Moses Malone. Plug-in guys. Just a guy that you could just throw in any lineup and it works.
Yeah. Scott, anybody that's versatile. So Scottie Pippen. I think Klay Thompson or Steph. Either one. The guy that can shoot.
KD.
KD. Well, yeah.
But what about ones that are actually tested and tried, like KD? Because Klay hasn't ever played on it. We don't know. I mean, I think
Leonard too, Tone.
Kawhi's a good one. Kawhi's a good one.
Yeah, Leonard too. When he's healthy.
When he's healthy. Any of those guys. There's actually a lot of them, like
James.
A good one in the chat. Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Chris Bosh. Yeah, all those guys are. If you can do something really well, right? Like it can either be versatility. That's why I said Scottie Pippen, or it could be, hey, I'm a really great shooter. I'm really good at, like Dennis Rodman. You can throw Dennis Rodman. Well, maybe not on every team because you need a veteran who can keep him. Well, before he was crazy, like as the Piston Rodman, you probably could have thrown him on any team, or someone who's really good at something like that for sure, like the role player. But then a lot of those guys are going to be role players, right? Like you could throw a PJ Tucker, a Bobby Portis, those dirty work guys. They fit in on every team too. So, but I know he said the best. Oops, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. My bad.
Okay. Mavs fan 772. Curry wins chip this year. He has to be top 10. Absolutely. I think if he wins another chip, he'll be tied with Magic, right? Oh wait, does Magic have 6?
5.
He's 5, so he'll be tied with Magic. He'll have probably 2 Finals MVPs. I don't think there's any problem.
Yeah. If Curry wins his 5th and he's the Finals MVP, it's going to be especially in this year where they were down, and so he's going to have. It's going to be hard to keep him out. When he retires, because you don't put them in until they retire.
Yep.
if you're smart.
Unless you're LeBron. Okay, Angie Carr. Who y'all got for the national championship? Who do you have, Jay?
Hold on. This is simple for me.
Yeah.
I'm
I want to do
men's
and women's too, because women's they've got some.
Show you guys right now. And you're gonna love
Sebastian,
this.
FAU.
Yeah. I'm with Sebastian because he's gonna take you guys to the game.
I am a little biased, and why do I say that? Because
a little higher, up closer.
You can't see it.
Up. There you go.
That's
Saint.
Jay.
What's that?
That's Jay right there. Who is that standing next to Jay?
Who is that?
That's the head basketball coach at UConn.
Is that the head basketball coach at UConn? Oh, there you go.
Jay, that's you.
That's the
UConn.
That's the head basketball coach at Utah.
Dude,
so
you haven't aged a bit.
I'm a little biased here, so I'm sorry. I'm a little biased here, so I'm riding with the Huskies. So
all right, well, I'm gonna ride with the guy that offered you guys free tickets, so I'm gonna go with FAU.
All right. Rich, if J Poole stops wearing his girlfriend's shorts,
that might be a mic drop right there.
Facts.
That might be a mic drop right there.
Oh man. Double P, SBC, Dame Dolla, Spida, Debo. That in that order for me.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yep, I'm good with that too.
Okay. Angie Carr. Who is in their feelings more, AK Butthurt, about winning KD? Oh, about winning KD or Lillard. Shout out to Sebastian for the question. I got you.
I think it's more KD than Lillard because with Lillard, he hasn't won. KD has actually won, and he's still out here yapping, still complaining, still talking about stuff like legacy. I'm not in that conversation. No question about it. It's
because
KD.
You know why. Because you know why. Because the way he won, everyone's like, you won, you took the you know what? I'm not allowed to say that word anymore. You took this way out. You took the easy road to a win.
Yeah.
So, and then you went to Brooklyn to try and do it on your own, and that sucked. And now you went back to another team that if you win again, people will say, well, yeah, but you had CP3, you had Donovan Booker, you had Ayton. Like,
so are we looking at KD with the are you kind of corny? You kind of corny. You kind of corny.
A little bit.
Is that how we looking at KD?
Kevin Durant. Listen, I rarely agree with Chuck. What a great segue. KD's too damn sensitive. In fact, a lot of people are too damn sensitive. I think I said this on Tuesday. I feel like every damn player is too damn sensitive. I feel like every fan of a player is too damn sensitive. The fact that you can pick one player over another, and you could say it's of the slimmest of margins. You can even throw in that caveat and say it's like 100 to 99.99, and I got player A over player B. And every fan of player B will start crying. You're a hater. You don't know what you're talking about. Why do you talk basketball? Go jump off a bridge, you dummy. Go hang yourself. Like, they'll go crazy with the stuff they see. And it's like, dude, I just said that I give this person, player A, 100, and I give player B 99.99. Yeah, that's crazy. Player B clears player A. You're so stupid. And it's like, okay, I expect it from dumb fans, because fan is short for fan dumb. Right? Mm-hmm. Fan dumb. So that makes sense because you're dumb when you're a fan. Fan dumb. and it's just but I don't expect it from players though. But players are the same way. It's like, oh, if the only thing that matters is chips. The ring culture. Shut up and play then. Stop talking about it. You know it's a great word if the interview's asking you a question? No comment.
That's how we get to the bottom of that. That's how we get to that right there.
Ugh. Am I? No, Bruce. I'm not sensitive. I the only thing I'm sensitive towards is stupid people. I hate stupid people.
I think a lot of that has to do with the culture that we live in today. So you mentioned it before. So in the 90s, like, who was the media? The media was maybe a newspaper. The media was ESPN or the local media.
NBC,
that was it.
Right? It was Ahmad Rashad and Hannah Storm.
that was the media. Today, the media is everybody. You go out and somebody's putting a camera in your face and they're asking you questions, and you got to deal with that everywhere you go. And if you hear it 200-300 times, you start to get a little bit sensitive about it. And KD is one of those guys who after a couple of hundred times hearing that, yo, you're not a bus driver, you're a bus rider. Now, to hear that a bunch of times, of course he's going to start thinking, am I really a bus rider? Well, you know what? I don't care that I'm a bus rider. Yes, you do. And the reason why you care, because if you heard that you was a bus driver, if you heard that enough times, you'd be like, yo, I'm the man. No doubt about it.
Listen, and I don't want to confuse, right? Like, you and I are passionate. Hailey holds her emotions in pretty good. You're pretty good. But like we get passionate about stuff. There's a difference between passionate and sensitive. So passionate is, you'll see me and Jay, especially on the panel, where we're like, yo, blah! That's not sensitive. That's passionate about a topic or our opinion. Sensitive is, I won't say the person's name, but people who start to cry, and if they name call, if they leave, right? Like that's sensitive. People who hang on to it and people who hang on to, like, 6 weeks later, they're still like, you said, I don't know what you said. You said that.
You still on? I said that 2 months ago.
It was 2 months ago. Like I get, that I still get people to this day will jump on a post on TikTok about how you should fry an egg, and they'll be like, yeah, right, Katie's not a superstar. I'm like, dude, I'm talking about frying eggs. What the hell are you talking about? That was like a year ago, and I retracted it. I took it back. So let's stick to the topic, though. Is KD specifically too sensitive?
Oh, KD got rabbit ears, no doubt about it. Age. He's got rabbit ears, no question. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Well, you know what's interesting, and I think if I were in that position, I guess, because we're not them, so we don't know what that kind of fame comes with that, and like what you're dealing with on the daily. So if I have to put myself in their shoes, I think the frustrating thing, like when KD said, when he said, oh, it didn't used to be like this, I think it means it didn't used to be as like in your face as it is today, because everybody is a journalist. Everybody has an opinion, and you can hear all of it and you see all of it, which doesn't give you the right, like, deal with it. If you need to put your phone down, put your phone down. That's a you thing. You can set your own boundaries. But the thing for me is that if you do one thing, and even if it was like 45 years ago, that is going to be the thing. If somebody does a little Google search, finds out, oh, you did this, or you said this, they're going to blow it out of proportion. And now the media today will never let go. That is the thing they're going to comment on every Instagram post you post, every Twitter post, everybody else's Twitter post about you. And it will follow you forever, because the people they have no personality. So all they say is the thing that everybody else says. And things just like, you can't get free of things, I guess. It used to be like, oh, it's in the news for a week. No, now it's constantly there for as long as
So let me ask you, because there's a narrative that it's just the old heads and the old media that's calling KD sensitive. You're not an old head. Do you think KD is too sensitive?
Yeah, I think I don't think you can be too sensitive. I think you shouldn't pretend you're not being sensitive. That's where I get it. It's like, yeah, KD seems very, very sensitive, and we can all see it. But to say like, oh, I don't care, like I'm not sensitive, that's where I'm like, bro, just be honest. If you care, you care. You don't have to pretend you don't.
Isn't it true when someone says, I don't care, I'm not sensitive? Like, that's the one who is, right? Right. Yeah. Like when Mrs. Fluent says, I'm not mad.
Yeah,
yes,
there you go.
Yes,
I got a problem. I got to go.
Yeah.
How you doing? Fine. You're in trouble now.
You're done.
No, you're in trouble when you hear that.
Well, that's all I'm saying. If you really didn't care.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Is there? I don't know what other topics we have. We've got some super still. Now we got about.
I know we have a cap, so let's finish off the super chats. Actually, really quick, I want to do this game with you really quick, because it's super easy. Chat, you can do it too. All right. So
we got a game, chat.
Yeah.
You ready,
so
chat?
I'm gonna do Would You Rather. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 draft classes. I'm going to let you pick who you would rather have and why. Okay. All right, we're going to start out in 1970. You guys are probably familiar.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you ready? All right.
Oh my God.
Now I'm too sensitive. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you got Bob Lanier, Dave Cohen's, Tiny, Pistol Pete, and Jim McMillan.
Okay, so Bob Lanier, Tiny Archibald,
Pistol
Pete,
Jim, and Dave.
Dave Cowens, and who was the other one?
Dave Cowens, and who the other one was?
Jim McMillan.
Jim McMillan. Okay.
All right, 1998.
That's a lineup?
No, it's not a lineup. It's just guys that were drafted that year.
Okay, so
who are we picking?
If you know, yeah.
If I'm picking today of those 5 guys,
no. Versus the other draft year, I'm gonna give.
Okay, that draft versus. Okay.
So those are just guys. There's others. If there's anybody else that comes.
Okay, so it's that 70s draft class, which was Lanier, Pistol Pete, Allens. Okay, versus this draft class. Okay, got it.
I'm with you.
Versus 98, which was Dirk, Paul Pierce, Vince Carter, Bibby, and others. Which class are you taking? Which class do you like more as you saw their whole career kind of flesh out?
That 98 draft class.
That 98 draft was like phenomenal and deep. Good. Yeah,
but I wanted to get you an older one too. I wanted to give you like
no. I like it, but I'm gonna go. I think I've made up my mind pretty quick. I'm going 98. Yeah,
that 98 draft is pretty special.
Yeah, I think that one. I feel like they all might be a little bit easy, but I like this one. This next one might be a little bit more difficult than the other two. All right, 2009, Steph, Harden, Blake Griffin, DeMar. Or 1987, David Robinson, Reggie Miller, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant.
Kenny Smith was in that draft. Muggsy Bogues was in that draft.
Muggsy. It's easy too.
Tell me the new one again.
The new one
2009.
Is 2000.
Steph, Harden, Blake Griffin, DeMar. I think there are some others in there, but those were like. I think
the 90 whatever one or the whatever. No, the 09 one.
Yeah.
The 09, I think the 09 is the top half might be like when you say Steph and Harden, it's about it. But it's 80. Yeah, it's 87. Like that's crazy. Yeah, I'm taking 87.
Isn't that stacked class?
I think Blake Griffin was in that draft too in 2009.
He was, yeah. They came in together. It was mid. All right. And then one more. 94. Fluent. This one is it's not even close either. It's tough, but okay. 94. MJ, Stockton, Charles Barkley, Hakeem.
Oh, 84.
84.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Or 2003, which is Bron, D. Wade, David West, Kyle Korver.
84 was tough, man, because you just the people that you just said, you said who you said
and
Jordan,
Bron, D. Wade.
No, I'm talking about 84. You
84. Jordan, you got Olajuwon, Jordan.
Stockton, Charles Barkley.
Only those dudes that you left out. Yeah, so that's in the 03 draft. You got Wade.
You got Wade, Bosh, Carmelo, LeBron,
James.
I got one top 10 versus
Kyle
2
Korver
top 10.
was still in there. Kyle Korver was in there.
But Charles Barkley, I mean.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I got Barkley and Stockton versus Kyle Korver and me. I don't know. Like I said, I'm 2 top 10s versus 1 top 10. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with 84.
I feel like one name can change your whole perspective on a draft class, but all right. That's all I got.
I didn't hear Jay's pick.
Oh, I'm definitely going with 84.
He agreed with you. They're easy. They're just.
I'm going with 84.
Some of these classes are so stacked.
Not just because of Jordan, Olajuwon, Stockton. Otis Thorpe was in that draft.
That was a good draft.
Yeah, that was a great draft. Barkley was in that draft. That was an awesome. Kevin Willis was in that draft. So that was.
What do you think was the best draft?
Heck, Kevin Willis played like 20 years. People forget.
Yes, he did.
He was a good big man.
Yeah.
What was the best draft class of all time? Was it
either 84 or 96?
Yeah.
Yeah, either 84 or 96. Take your pick.
Okay. All right, real quick. We got about 15 minutes, so we'll finish off.
You want to finish them off? Okay.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this?
Oh no, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Which player has more to prove in the NBA playoffs? What are you thinking?
I think it's Joker. Of all the guys, I think it's Joker. And the reason why I think it's Joker is because of how everybody's talking about him, with being the back-to-back league MVP, the fact that he may win the league MVP this year, and his legacy is being cemented in the postseason, right? So I already know what Giannis has done in the postseason. I already know what James has done in the postseason. Joker, on the other hand, I can't talk about you like I talk about Olajuwon, like I talk about Jabbar, like I talk about Shaq. I can't talk about you like I talk about them dudes unless you start doing what those guys did. So in order for that to happen, you have to do that. So I think he has the most to prove in the postseason this year more than anybody.
The regular season makes stars. The playoffs make legends.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no other player who's on the cusp of being legendary than Nikola Jokic. Right? We're talking about him. He might be either the 3-time MVP or the 2-time MVP who came in second that third year. So he is on the verge of legendary status. If you don't perform, then he could go from being in a conversation. Just think about how crazy this is. He can go from being in a conversation with Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Shaq to being in a conversation with Steve Nash. And I'm not disrespecting Steve Nash when I say that, but that is a huge drop-off between being in that one conversation to the other. That's how important the playoffs are to Jokic right now. So as important as it is for KD, for Kawhi, for Paul George, for all the AD, all these other guys, it's Luka. And for once in my life, I'm going to say this and really believe it, and I don't think anyone can argue. It's Luka, and it's not close. Because I don't like saying that. But I think it's
Luka.
You think it's Luka? Joker.
Jokic, and it's not close. Okay.
Because remember, Tone, I mean, Steve Nash
did Luka on my mind, but no, it's Jokic.
Don't forget, Tone. I mean, Steve Nash did take that Phoenix team to the West Finals. Not once. He did it more than once.
I know.
He took, but we can't talk about him like we talk about Isaiah Thomas. We don't talk about him like we talk about Magic, right? We can't talk about him like we talk about the all-time greats because that box hasn't been checked. So to talk about Joker like we talk about Jabbar, and we talk about Olajuwon, we talk about Shaq, to go from that to talking about him like we talk about Steve Nash, wow, those two things.
And again, there's no disrespect to Nash. I'm sorry I said Luka. Of course, the chat. Right. No, I misspoke. I was talking about Jokic. It started with Jokic.
Right.
Come on.
Right. Those two things are not the same, yo. They're not.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody other than that? Do you have someone else, Hailey?
I know people are saying KD, and KD's one. I mean, in very different fashion, but I agree. I think it has to be Jokic, and if he wins MVP this season and gets bounced in the first,
Could you imagine? Watch
me?
this scenario. He wins his third MVP.
Exactly.
He wins his first MVP and gets bounced in the first round by the Lakers.
And Embiid goes to the finals and wins and was
he might have to go back. He might have to go back.
I don't even want to think about this. To be honest with you, like
2023.
I don't even want to think about the fact that we'd have to talk about that. I don't, yo.
What do you mean?
That would be, oh my God, that would be a great summer content.
Oh my God.
I think they should just
especially for all those guys.
ask him to leave the league after.
Oh my God.
All those guys who he's a generational best offensive player ever.
Oh my goodness, yo. The only one guy that I think about that's close to Joker in that conversation that we just talked about.
Yeah.
James Harden has to perform these playoffs. He has to. He cannot come up lame. He cannot underperform. He has to be better, considering this with the exception of what happened in Houston against the Warriors, this is his best opportunity to go deep into the postseason and produce. And we've seen him come up short more than once, more than twice. So I think he's got a lot to prove this postseason, no doubt about that. Even though I think Philadelphia is going to go as far as Joel Embiid takes them, but James Harden can't come up short. It can't be because of him.
Agreed. But Harden's defense, though, I just want to say, I've loved him this season. He's been quiet. He's been balling. Awesome. He's been in when he can play. He's been out when he can't. But yeah, he's been great. I agree with you, though. Playoffs, you got to shine. You have to. Double P got another 3-on-3 for you. 2000s era rules. Teammate Gilbert Arenas, ISO Joe, Tim Duncan versus Team B, Baron Davis, Paul Pierce, KG. Who you got winning?
I'm taking Team A on that one, man. As good as Baron Davis is, Gilbert Arenas was hell. He stretched the defense. Great one-on-one player. There's a reason why they call him ISO Joe. So, I mean, what are we talking about? As good as Paul Pierce was, ISO Joe as an isolation player, yeah. And Tim Duncan, y'all guys know how I feel about Duncan. So I'm going with Team A.
I'm going to go with Team B. And I'm going to go with Team B because I think one of the things is roles. And I think ISO Joe and Mimi Arenas are going to have difficulties playing alongside each other. And I think Baron Davis, Paul Pierce, KG have better. Like I see Baron Davis playing on the outside, Paul Pierce, mid-range, KG down low, the defense. I like Tim. Don't get me wrong. Tim Duncan might be the glue that keeps those two guys together. Yeah. But I don't like that dynamic of Arenas and ISO Joe. Can you imagine Gilbert Arenas just standing there going like, throw me the ball. And Joe be like, hold on. I got 4 more seconds. It's just
Okay, good. All right. Johnny Sims. Y'all remember when AD was considered top 5 in the league in NOLA? Has he gotten worse in LA? And if he stayed in NOLA, do you think he would be in MVP talks? No, I don't. I think his body would have probably broken down at the same rate, whether it was in New Orleans or in LA.
It might have broken down actually faster because of more that he had to do. And,
right.
And the less help he had. But to your point, we were having a conversation between him and Giannis late in the 2010. That was a legit conversation. It wasn't a wash. Even after they won the NBA championship in the 1920 season, we're having a legit conversation. And I thought Anthony Davis was a top 5 player when he was healthy. I did. But Giannis did surpass him. But it was a conversation. It's not ridiculous to say that it was. You are ridiculous to say that it wasn't, because it was.
What's interesting is that statistically, we would have held AD probably in higher regard, but we would have talked about how disappointing it is that he's never made it to an NBA final. Because if he stayed in New Orleans, he never would have done that. And so I think he gets a huge pass because he went to the Lakers, won that chip, and people keep saying, but he won a chip. Like, that's what I keep hearing when I keep saying, but he can't stay healthy. Day-to-day Davis. When you say all this stuff, it's always, but he brought them a chip. The Lakers were, I've said the last 4 years of the Lakers have been a disappointment, but they won a chip. The Lakers aren't about winning a chip. They're about winning chips, right? I get the chips and the dips. That's all I know. Thank you, Drake. So I think he would have, either way, I think he drops below Giannis. And he probably still, like Jay said, he probably still gets hurt, right? He's now the number 1 person on a team. He doesn't like that spotlight. I think he likes being in the shadow a little bit, in the shadows. So yeah, I think same thing happens, and he doesn't have I got a ring to fall back on. So I think he actually falls even further if he stays in New Orleans.
How many more years do you think AD will be on the Lakers? 1, 2, 3, 5?
Depending on what happens this year.
Okay. If they get bounced out in the playoffs, if they make them but get bounced out,
trade him.
I think they move off of him after this
offseason.
Yeah, I think they move off of him.
Okay.
Trade him.
Agreed. Angie Carr, Fluent. If you ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last. That's right. Ricky Booby.
Tony Styles and friends, thank you for the super chat. Spida over number 1 non-bubble playoff shooting, in front of people percentage, 42%, 32, 44, 39, and now you're more fluent.
What did we talk about Spida about something?
I don't know.
He's talking about that start bench cut because we put Dame first and we didn't put
first.
So he's tripping out about that.
So, and we're not counting the bubble year.
Spida number 1.
Non-bubble playoff shooting. Yeah. Why are we not counting the bubble year?
Yeah. Why are we leaving that out?
I don't.
I'm not leaving that out neither. In fact, I'm definitely adding a bubble year because that was the year that Dame Lillard went nuts.
I think
that's why he's leaving it out.
But also the year after he went nuts too. Didn't he have 62 in a playoff in a game set or like a game 6 against Denver? Hello.
56. He had 56 in against Denver. And in the year before, I think he had 3 60-point games.
Yeah. And this year he had like 7.
Can we clear something up? So I keep getting this type of argument from people. Well, you can't count this. You can't count the bubble year. You can't count the bubble ring. You can't count the shortened 3-point line.
Why?
Well,
Why? Because it's convenient for you. Do you not count, like, I don't know, now that they're in 04 when they abolished hand checking? Like, we pick and choose what we want to
Well, when people say that, Tone, they say that because it fits their narrative. That's why we're leaving that specific thing out. That's why we
only do it for certain players.
Right. We don't do it for everybody. No.
The short Jordan only shot a high percentage in the shortened 3-point era. I always ask, well, how many did he shoot from the corner? And they go, why do you ask that? And I say, well, because the corner remained the same, 22 feet. Well, it doesn't count. I said, what do you mean it doesn't count? Because it's
they just don't know they don't know their whole argument. They don't even know. What do you mean
it doesn't count? I said, do you discount all the 3-pointers that Klay shoots from the corner, which is like half of them?
Right.
Well, no. Why not? It's only 22 feet.
Because it doesn't fit my narrative, Tony. It's going away from my point. That's why.
Do you take it away from Reggie Miller and Steve Kerr and anybody else who played in those 3 years? Well, no. Why not?
Because it doesn't coincide with my point.
The only thing I can give you is if you say I don't count like 1950 because there was no shot clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I remind you that friggin' what's his name? George Mikan still averaged like 30 with no shot clock. With no shot clock. So crazy. Yeah, he shot 40%, but still no shot clock. All right. Okay. We got 3 more and then we got 5 minutes. Look at that. We good.
We're good. Angie Carr, the way his situation is going, is Simmons a bust? Yes.
Oh, Simmons
going this way, yeah.
Done is a bust. Yeah.
I don't think he's got any.
He's not only a bust. I think he's. I don't think he's ever gonna. I don't think we're seeing him in the league again.
No.
You think he's done? Do you think any team gives him a chance next year?
I don't think. There is no next year, Tony. He's got 3 more years in his contract. Brooklyn can't move him, and they ain't buying him out. So he's gonna.
How much is he getting paid?
Like $90 million. They're not moving off of that. No.
Who the hell signed him to 90?
Like a max deal. And the contract just kicked in last season. He ain't going nowhere. Brooklyn got to make this work. He ain't going nowhere.
Was that coming from Philly though? They picked that up from Philly?
Yes.
We might have the 30st dumbest GMs in like.
Who did that?
I can't get a job as a GM and someone paid him $90 million.
No, it was a max deal, Tone. This is year 2 of it. So he still got 3 more years left on it.
Right.
So
unbelievable. This is not a super chat, but it's a super comment. Thank you, Land of Heartless.
Thanks, brother. We appreciate you.
Super comment.
I agree with that statement. The statement has been approved by Fluent and Chill.
Mavs 772. Kyrie sign and trade to LA for
Nope.
If that happens, I can't stop being a Laker fan. But I can stop paying any money that will end up going to the Lakers. I might make up
we still family. I'm just kicking you out the house.
We family. You ain't coming to the barbecue.
Pay your own bills, but
you ain't invited. As you told me, you're not invited to the cookout.
No, we can't live together no more. You got to go.
You believe that he didn't invite me to?
Okay, Hunter 32,000.
Shoot.
On Twitch. Low something. I saw.
Lowest cooking ticket about Ray Allen. I'm sure he is.
Oh no! Did I remove something that was talking about someone being on another show and to leave our show to go watch that? Oh, my bad.
No problem.
Okay, so we have 3 minutes left. So I'm going to give you these 3 options. I'm going to give you these 3 options. All right. So, 1. We can put the link and let some of our wonderful viewers jump on and say one thing and get booted off. No disrespect. We talked about actually everything on our list. That is crazy. Oh, no, we didn't. No, we didn't. Or we could talk about that nobody fears LeBron.
Let's do it real quick. Real quick.
Let's do that real quick. I'm down to do that.
Which one?
So Mario Chalmers came out and said, there's a whole podcast, but what clip was taken from it is nobody feared LeBron. What do you guys think about that?
Which is nuts to me, man, because we had this conversation last week with Shaq. Mutombo wasn't scared of Shaq. Did that stop Shaq from eating his lunch?
No.
Nobody, I think as a competitor, I don't want to play against somebody that's afraid of me. Nobody wants to play against somebody that's afraid of them. They want to play against guys who are jacked up. They want to play against guys who are also competitors. Nobody wants to play against somebody that's afraid of them. And like I said, Shaq, the Dikembe Mutombo wasn't afraid of Shaq. That didn't stop Shaq from destroying him. Charles Barkley, quote, "I was very confident about going up against the Bulls." How'd that work out? I think Jordan averaged 41 a game in the finals. So the idea that you're not feared, that doesn't stop a guy from getting his ass kicked. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who says no one in the NBA feared Shaq, no one in the NBA feared LeBron. Mm-hmm. You know what people call me when it comes to LeBron. So there's no bias when I say this. I don't think I ever watched the game of basketball. That's all I can say. Mario Chalmers. Now, let me be clear. Tristan Thompson Tristan, was it Tristan? Yeah, was it Tristan Thompson?
Mm-hmm.
Said the dumbest thing. He gave you a job. You can't talk about him like that. No, absolutely not. That means nothing. You talk if that's what you truly believe. You say it. Like that's nonsense. You called him up for a job. No, that's dumb. But I can tell you right now that there's at least 4 players on the Toronto Raptors that feared the hell out of LeBron James. There's a reason it was called LeBronto. They did not, when he walked in onto the court, it's like, not him. Like, roll an ankle or something, dude. Mario Chalmers might have feared LeBron for all that I know.
Yeah.
But I've seen, was it Austin Rivers accidentally hit him in the back of the head with the ball, and the second he turned,
my fault.
That's just Austin Rivers. Don't get me started on that guy.
But that's fear.
Oh yeah.
So there, I would say that if you see LeBron coming down the court at you full speed, there's a little bit of fear. You're like, do I take that charge or do I olay some defense right here? I'll tell you right now, I'm olaying some defense. And what I mean by olay, like a matador, olay. I guarantee you there were times in game where maybe when he walked on the court, you might not have feared him. You were like, I'm going to, we're going to compete. We're going to, like Jay said. And then he got that look in his face. And now you're like, shit, now I'm scared. Or he'd go, or like he'd start, Shaq actually said it last week really well. He's like, I didn't fear Jordan, but like when we would play him and he would hit that first baseline jumper, and I was like, uh-oh, now we in trouble. Right? Like now we're in trouble if he gets off. So to say that nobody feared him, I think is so disingenuous. Now, I think now again, people look at fear like, I'm scared of that person, right? That's what fear means. But no, I think they meant they're scared of his game. They're scared of him getting off. They're scared of him going all like LeBron on you. And it's, LeBron had those same moments. There's always that famous one, when Kawhi checks in, he's like, shit, right? It's not that he feared Kawhi, but he knew that now my job just got tougher. Right. So there's
like mutual respect.
Yeah, there's a healthy fear / respect. Right. And I would say the majority of the league at some point had that respect and or good fear, right? Like when you're standing on the edge of a cliff, and I'm not scared. Yes, you are. That's what keeps you from falling off or jumping and killing yourself. Is there's that fear of, I could die, so let me step back. Like there's a healthy, and I think there was a healthy respect for LeBron James from everybody, as there should be, because he was the best player in the league for 17 damn years. So you should.
Right.
You should.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, we are going to sign off for tonight. We have a 2-hour cap these days. So we're going to sign out. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, I know next week we'll probably get into some brackets because are there 4 games left? 3 games left?
Yeah, Final Four. Yeah.
Final Four. So so we'll definitely get our playoff brackets going because we'll actually know what's up. It's gonna be a ton of fun. But Angie, not Fluent, LeBron has them dudes clutching their purse.
Yes, he does.
That's
yes,
true.
he does. Yes, he does.
Facts, Angie. Facts. All right, Fluent, any last words from you?
Now you're more fluent.
Enough is enough. Yep.
Take it.
Bye, guys.